Welcome back to Simply Holistic. Dr. Tony here. As you see, we have officially moved into the new office. This is the first video from this office. Today I'm going to touch on actually a comparison. And let me explain why I'm using this comparison. So the comparison is menopause and underactive thyroid. Menopause and underactive thyroid. Why is it that I'm using this comparison? When I do these blood tests, when I do the hormonal panels, far too many women, almost regardless of age, on your hormonal panel, you have menopause showing up, the onset of menopause. I've seen that from 18 years old on up. Should not be happening when you're 18. Should not be happening when you're in your 30s. Yet, I've seen it on a lot of hormonal panels. Menopause at 18? Come on. Underactive thyroid. A lot of you ladies also deal with this. Underactive, hypothyroid. And it shows up on the blood panel. I will see it very clearly. So the reason for this comparison, even though I have seen both things show up on blood work, a lot of these symptoms are actually shared. So let's review some of these. Menopause. Hot flashes. So that one, that's been a media driven symptom. It really has. It's been a media driven symptom. So most people are familiar with the idea of hot flashes being a part of menopause. And then you wonder, how do we ease the transition? Well, we can do that, actually. If your body's going into menopause, and it's at that point hormonally. Now, this is not an age thing, it's a hormonal thing. So if hormonally your body's going into menopause, fine, we'll deal with it. Yes, we can help you ease the transition. So hot flashes. But how would you define a hot flash? Is it on some random day when you're just going, is the temperature 100 degrees outside? Is the temperature 100 degrees inside? How do we define hot flash? Is it a summer day in the middle of winter? How are we defining it? No. Hot flash is hormonally or quite a bit more than that. You're probably going to feel like you're melting. You're not going to be able to cool down. I don't care if you step next to a walk-in cooler, open the door, walk yourself in. Even in there, you're going to be going, hot flashes. Not just normal hot flashes, okay? Next, night sweats. A lot of I have seen this symptom impact people when menopause wasn't even a thought. Night sweats. Sometimes diabetes can bring this too. Or What temperature do you have your bed or your bedroom? That'd be causing a night sweat. Just ask it. So night sweats. This isn't something where you wake up and you need to turn the fan on because you're a little hot. That's not a night sweat. You wake up and the bed is drenched. Now we're talking night sweats. This is, when it comes to menopause, this is an extreme thing. Hot flashes, going to be extreme. Night sweats, going to be extreme. Going to be frequent. So it's like night after night after night after night after night. You're waking up in your bed soaked. Now we're looking at night sweats. No, that's not necessarily a diabetic thing there. Now, the diabetic thing is, let's say, less severe. Frequent urination. That's definitely chalked up to a diabetic thing. That would be the first instinct, the knee-jerk response to, oh, I'm peeing all the time. Diabetes. And not just any diabetes, sugar diabetes, or what diabetes mellitus, what people know or think of as sugar diabetes. When really we need to do a whole lesson, a whole video on that, because sugar diabetes has nothing to do with the amount of sugar that you're taking in. That's not what it is. It's not what triggers it. It's just not. So the frequent urination, which does get chalked up to diabetes, is also a symptom of menopause. And if you just heard that, you like to you guys might not have heard that air kick on. Sound should be different here. So the frequent urination. Thing is with diabetes, you've got frequent thirst to go with it. Frequent thirst and frequent urination with diabetes because the electrolyte balance in your body is off. See, here's actually one of the differences between menopause and diabetes. With diabetes, whether it's sugar diabetes or water diabetes, you have more of a thirst. Well, not so much with the water, actually. But you have more of a thirst because the electrolyte balance is off. The salt balance is actually off in your blood. So you have more of a thirst because you're trying to quench that. The salt is going to make you more thirsty. So you're trying to quench that, trying to overcome that. So therefore you're thirsty. Of course, frequent urination goes with that because then your body is processing all that additional fluid intake. So menopause, frequent urination. It's another symptom of it. Changes in menstruation or libido. Okay, so technically, no, not technically. Pharmaceutically, let's say it that way. Pharmaceutically, menopause is after you have not had your period for a full 12 months. Well, I'm on birth control and they're going to produce that. Am I in menopause now? No. See, that's it. Without birth control, when your body alone stops having a period for a year, pharmaceutically, oh, you're in menopause. You're in menopause. That is one of their key landmarks or milestones. That's one of their keys to say, yep, you're in menopause. Libido. So this is also a media-driven symptom. This helps to push the fear factor. Oh, your sex drive is going to change. It's menopause. This isn't necessarily true. So here's the thing. Your hormonal panel, well, there's something on your hormonal panel that tells me, it gives me an insight into where your current sex drive is. You have one hormone that when it raises up, it drives your sex drive. So, yes, by default, the menopause. By default, the menopause is just a label, but your body going into this state is going to change the hormonal levels. Thing is, I see this particular hormone bottomed out before a lady even hits menopause. So the change in libido, the change in menstruation, I get. The change in libido, this isn't just an automatic menopause thing. It's not. A lot of ladies deal with this change, this hormonal change, and therefore the change in libido when menopause is not even a thought, not even in on the horizon. So that doesn't exactly go together. Vaginal dryness. Okay. That is more of a menopause symptom, but still again, not completely. You have a couple of glands that are fully responsible for whether you are battling vaginal dryness or you don't have to worry about it. You have a couple of glands that are directly responsible for that. Now those glands though are signaled by other hormones like your hypothalamus and pituitary. These glands are signaled by those other hormonal centers. So vaginal dryness, granted it could go with menopause, but I have seen this symptom again. I've heard complaints about it, and I've seen evidence of it when when a lady does not even have menopause on her horizon. When she walks into this office and menopause is not, it's not even in her thought process. It's not on the initial list of complaints or concerns. It's listed nowhere. Menopause isn't even, it's just not on her radar. That's what I was looking for, on her radar. I've seen vaginal dryness when menopause is not even on the radar. So to say that this is a symptom just of menopause, it is fully hormonal. Is menopause fully hormonal? Yes, it is, but for different reasons. Difficulty sleeping. Oh, that's so not just a menopause thing. Definitely hormonal. Definitely not just a menopause symptom. Moodiness. I dare say, I bet a lot of you ladies and even a lot of husbands or boyfriends would say, y'all experience moodiness, extreme moodiness even, from like PMS. Because, I get that this one is media driven, but there is truth to this. When you're PMSing, so to speak, those extreme mood swings, oh my gosh. Does that mean you're in menopause every month? No. Obviously not. So, moodiness, yes, there's going to be some moodiness because the hormones are changing for menopause. But I have seen worse moodiness from PMS than from menopause. So don't let that actual supposed symptom scare you. Forgetfulness, yeah, that could come along, but most likely it's not going to be from the menopause itself. But now this one I will actually attribute to age, because the older you get, if you're not keeping this thing sharp, then the older you get, this is going to fizzle. And then forgetfulness, weight changes. Oh, again, don't let that symptom scare you regarding menopause, because that is so not just a menopause symptom. So, weight changes. Oh, my weight has changed. Am I in menopause? No. There are actually so many reasons. There are actually so many reasons for weight changes that have nothing to do with menopause. And both types of diabetes actually will account for it as well. Now, the underactive thyroid. First symptom list here is cold intolerance. Okay. So you notice that's not listed under menopause. They put hot flashes and night sweats. They didn't put cold intolerance. You notice there's actually a difference. Hot flashes, night sweats, melting, versus cold intolerance. This doesn't say that you're getting hot flashes or night sweats, but you can't tolerate the cold. See, there is actually a difference there. Underactive thyroid, hypothyroid. Your thyroid is slowing down. Your metabolism, therefore, is slowing down. Your metabolism should be up, keeping the internal fire going, keeping your body temperature stable, keeping the blood flow going, keeping the internal body temperature actually up, keeping the metabolism up, your energy up. A properly acting thyroid will do that. So, cold intolerance with underactive thyroid, hypothyroid. You can't tolerate the cold, therefore you can't stand the cold. You always are cold, but you can't stand the cold. See, two different things there also. So it's not like the hot flashes or night sweats. And you always are cold, but you can't stand the cold. That is part of hypothyroid. There's a difference between that and menopause. Dry skin. I noticed that they didn't list that on menopause. So underactive thyroid, low performing thyroid, dry skin. All of this, your skin is not lubricated as much with your body oil, therefore dry. Yes, this is hormonal. The roughness, the scaliness, the dryness, the moisture, if it's keeping good moisture, all that with the skin is hormonal. So underactive thyroid, this is a hormonal issue. Hormones are contributing to it. Constipation. So this is usually a factor of the water and fiber balance in your body. Constipation is usually a factor of that. The water and fiber balance. I actually shouldn't say just water. Hydration and fiber balance of your body factors into constipation. If your thyroid, here's the thing though, if your thyroid is underactive, hypothyroid, your body's not going to process the hydration level, because think about it, you're always thirsty. Your salt level's out of kilter, so you're always thirsty and yet always peeing. Your body's not managing the hydration balance. So if you're not managing the hydration balance, constipation is actually a natural side effect or byproduct of not managing the hydration balance. Changes in menstrual cycle or libido. So you notice this was also listed on menopause. Hypothyroid, changes in menstrual cycle or libido. So the changes in libido, yeah, because that's tied to one of your female hormones. There is one that goes up and down, takes your sex drive with it. That is directly impacted by an underactive or hypothyroid. Because your thyroid is communicating with your ovaries or with your reproductive system to dictate what these hormones do or don't do. Changes in menstrual cycle with hypothyroid. If it, by extension, if the thyroid is going to impact one of your female hormones, change your sex drive, it makes sense that will impact with the others, and therefore change your menstrual cycle. The thyroid, every one of your cells has a thyroid receptor. Even the reproductive system has a thyroid receptor. The cells in your reproductive system each have thyroid receptors. So therefore, if your thyroid is underactive, it's not sending out the appropriate chemical messengers. The thyroid is sending them slow. That's underactive thyroid. Instead of, okay, that is underactive thyroid. So yes, that would, by logic, impact your menstrual cycle as well. Moodiness. This is also, okay, actually these last three things, moodiness, forgetfulness or depression, and weight changes, are all listed as in common between menopause and underactive thyroid. So this is one of the things I wanted to hit on for this video. Since hormonal panels do show me if hormonally you're going into menopause or are in menopause, but your hormonal panels will also show if you have an underactive thyroid or hypothyroid. Moodiness, forgetfulness, and weight changes. How many of you battle, I want to say one or all three, but let's be real. Let's be real. How many of you battle all three of those probably on a daily basis? I mean, this is life, right? We've been taught to kind of, it just roll with, the weight changes, the gaining weight. With menopause and underactive thyroid, by the way, with both of those, you would be likely gaining weight. So we are taught that we are conditioned that these things it's just life. You're moody, it's just life. Forgetful, it's just life. Weight changes, sorry for you, just life. Well, it's really not just life, but considering how many battle those three things: moodiness, forgetfulness, and weight changes, especially you ladies, because I hear it from wives all the time. Well, my husband does this, and his weight changes, and his body just accepts it, and his body, he just shapes up, just like boom, it's done. Why won't my body work that way? I get it, and I get your frustration, because yeah, I agree, it ain't right, but it's how the hormones are, and it is hormonal. So moodiness, forgetfulness, and weight changes. If that is shared between menopause and hypothyroid, how do we know which one it is? How do we know which one to treat? Well, I should ask, how would you know? If you're dealing with all three of those things, how would you know whether maybe your thyroid is slowing down or whether your body's saying, hit the brakes, time for menopause? How would you know? Well, I'm going to see it on the blood test. I will. So, that's how I know. It'll show up. Both things will actually show up. And yes, I have actually seen both together. But you know what? We can treat each one because they're both hormonal. Depending on, see, for me, I'm going to look at your age too. If it says menopause, I'm going to look at your age and figure, well, okay, yeah, your body, your hormones have come to this balance. Say you're in your 80s, 90s. What I'm going to do then, because I've done it even for 60s and 70s, what I'm going to do then is say, okay, your blood work says menopause. Let me ask your feelings about that. Are you okay with your body being in menopause? Did you assume it? Are you accepting of it? Or is this something you're not ready for? Where do you stand with it? See, that's what I want to know from you. I want to know because your response then dictates whether I need to treat that or not. And that would be one area of treatment for me to look at. And then the hypothyroid would be another area of treatment for me to look at. Can they go together? Can one cause the other? Can. But then we come to something that I would call a catch-22 cycle because then you don't know which triggered the other. So therefore, since I don't know for sure what would have to break the cycle, I need to treat both to rein both in because I don't know which one actually triggered it. So to break the cycle, I got to treat both aspects and bring both under control. And then by default, you would think we have broken the cycle and we have treated whichever one that was actually triggered it to begin with. Make sense? I hope. Okay. With that said, we have compared menopause and underactive thyroid or hypothyroid. Find us at justsimplyholistic.com. Get yourself into our new Simply Holistic office. Let's review your intake papers. Let's go through our initial gamut of testing. Let's see what your blood work shows. Let's discover what we really need to treat with you. Let's get your body under control. With that said, we look forward to seeing and serving you soon.